And both Michael and Nancy went way above and beyond to help us and to help us achieve the house of our dreams.
You know, this is Michael and Nancy Hatfield here, and there's a subject that we just cannot ignore, a very important subject, and that's the subject of Mother's Day. My mother personally was just an immense influence in my life. She always provided that air of confidence and what to do when I had no clue. And so I have Nancy here ask her 2 questions, as well as another lady after her, to give their thoughts on this very important day coming up on May 10th. It's a Sunday. So Nancy, why is it important to have a great mother in your life?
Well, having a great mother is your guiding light in your life, and hopefully it helps you through your whole entire life in the future in positive ways. I had a wonderful mom who always gave me a lot of love, and I raised 2 children who I believe I shared a lot of love with them, and they're wonderful adults now.
Well, that's great. So if this is the case, what was the most important or dramatic time, your choice, that you had raising these 2 kids from childhood all the way to grown adult?
I don't know if I would say dramatic. I'd just say you just do what you need to do when you need to do it, and you give the best guidance, and you give them, what's right and wrong, and go from there.
And so the first question I have for her is, what is the importance of having a great mom?
Well, it's a constant, but yet it's almost like a drug. Even though it's the hardest thing you do, you wake up every day excited to see your kids and see what they learn and see what trouble or mischief they get into and watch them grow. And having the second child recently, I can see why kids have, or people have 4, 5, 6 kids, because with each kid you have, you see these little idiosyncrasies come out, and you see their personalities develop, and they're so different from one another that it's almost like, wow, what would 6 different versions of us look like? What surprised me the most was the mama bear instinct that kicked in. Like, I remember when my daughter was born, everyone had told me that it was going to be this ooey gooey, full of love, like you fall in love with your baby and you just have all these wonderful emotions. I didn't have that, but I remember about 10 hours after she was born, I was looking at her. I was alone with her because my husband had ran to get food. And I remember looking at her going, I don't have all those ooey gooey feelings yet, but I would step in front of a bus for you. Like, without thought, without concern for myself. And give it a couple weeks, and sure enough, the flood of all of those big ooey gooey feelings definitely hit me. But it was very different than the hallmark version of becoming a parent. And then with my second, I had that huge burst of love feeling right away. And I was talking to another mom friend recently about that, about the difference between the first and the second and how it's different. And the biggest thing we could equate it to is like learning to ride a bike. When you're a little kid and you're riding a bike, you don't enjoy your bike rides because you're just trying to ride the bike. But then when you're experienced, like you have your second kid, you can enjoy it more because you can look around. You're not so focused on like just figuring out the mechanics of keeping a tiny human alive. But then I had a different level of feelings that I wasn't expecting, which was, I remember we were in a Target parking lot. Micah was maybe a week old, and Adara was saying, how can you love us the same? In her new role as big sister, she also was realizing that she was losing being an only child. And I said to her, because it just multiplies. And I started to cry. I'm sure my husband thought I was losing my mind, but I just started to cry because the amount of love that you just feel, it explodes. And there's no way to prepare for it or understand it. It's just the more that I show love towards my kids, the more love I feel.